the number one mistake is not funding the trust. So the trust, the revocable living trust, almost feels automatic in a way, but it's not. You see, the key step is implementing this trust, which is putting your assets into the trust. So you have a bank account, you have an investment account, it's in your name or your name and your spouse's name. You have to rename it, retitle it, go to the financial institution, and now put it in the name of your trust, which will likely be your name, unless you were creative and you name your trust something differently. That's easy enough. You can do that yourself. How about when it comes to your home or other properties, other real properties? Those assets are by way of a deed, and a deed is something that most people can't do themselves. They might need an attorney or a title company or someone to help them. A deed has to be recorded in the county where the property is. So if you own a home in Spokane County, for example, and now you have a revocable living trust, there must be a deed that records the new ownership, no longer in your name or your name and your spouse's name, but now in your name and your spouse's name as trustees of this trust you have. So that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, is not realizing that there's more work to be done once you sign this trust. You actually need to fund it. What else should be put in the trust? What else should be funded into the trust? You know, should you put your car in the trust, your RV in the trust, a list of personal property in the trust? Basically, the answer to that is yes. The answer might be different if it was an irrevocable trust, because a car and RV, those are the kinds of assets that can cause accidents and generate liability and lawsuits. But recall, this revocable living trust gives you no liability or creditor protections anyway. So putting it in the trust is not going to cause you any harm. Make sure you have ample liability insurance. I would give that advice no matter what. A personal property list. If you want to make sure all your property is going to go where you want it to go upon your death, make a personal property list. Keep that with the trust. Sometimes you'll see revocable living trusts have what's called a Schedule A. That's when you're supposed to list what all the property is in the trust, so that upon your death, whomever's stepping in as that successor trustee is going to have some guidance to what should be in the trust. People might assume everything you own is in the trust, and that might be a fair assumption, but it's always good to be specific and give guidance as to what is in the trust, and make sure you fully fund the trust. Trust won't work like you want it to if you forgot to put your house in it or another asset into the trust. So fully fund the trust. And again, the reason for that is so that it'll work like it's supposed to. Now, I did mention about cars and other things that cause liability. And I said, fine, it's okay to put it in the revocable living trust. Keep in mind, if you are talking about an irrevocable trust, different rules apply as to whether you would put a liability causing asset into an irrevocable trust. Typically, you would not do that. And also, you put your house into the revocable living trust, the mortgage company's not going to have a problem with that. Again, if you were talking about an irrevocable trust, the mortgage company might say, no, you can't put your house into an irrevocable trust. That takes away their ability for recourse against the loan. And so it may be that a house with a mortgage wouldn't go into an irrevocable trust. So whenever you're talking about an irrevocable trust, keep in mind, different rules apply. It's much more complicated, and I would recommend that you get an attorney's guidance if you're dealing with an irrevocable trust.